Hello, it is Friday, October 21st, 2016. This is my last update from my fourth trip to the Hansa Center in Wichita, Kansas. Not a lot to say today, good day, but I it was just kind of tying up the loose ends and such. I started with my doctor's appointment right away, then I had a sauna. Then I did a massage. So this is the first time I've gotten 5 massages. I got one every day. Every other time that I came and did the massages, there was always at least one day a week when I didn't get one because they didn't have enough room in the schedule. But it was a little lighter week this week for them, I guess. So I got one every day. Yay! um, then I did the beamer, which is the mat that you lay on and it emits low EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies. Helps with healing, boosts circulation, lowers pain, does all that good stuff. Then I had lunch. Then I went back and did the Lux. The Lux is the light therapy where they put light bulbs that are different colors and shine through crystals on different organs to help them heal and be cleansed of toxins and whatnot. So mine again today was on liver, spleen, and heart. And the sound therapy that went with that was the water one that I had almost every other day this week. It just sounded like running water over rocks or something. And then sometimes you'd hear birds in the background too. Then, let's see. Today was just kind of a weird day because things were in a strange order. I think after, then they asked me to go do the checkout, which is when they go over the paperwork and the final billing, make sure you have all the supplements you need, all that stuff, and the procedure for if you're going to do follow-up email and all that stuff. So I did that, and then, which I've never done that before. I was done in the past. Typically they wait till you're all done, but I guess just to balance everybody, they did it that way this time. So then after that I think this is the order, I think I did the PEMF, which is pulsed electromagnetic fields. I think I've been saying frequency, but I think it's fields. Anyway, therapy. And today they had like a butterfly look. They called it a butterfly tube, but it was just looked like a double layer of a small circle, medium circle, and they pulled the 2 layers apart and put it on my arm here, and then they did this arm, and then they did the one where it was wrapped around my abdomen, and then the one where I sat on it, and then I was done with that. That's the one that it pulses the electric field through you and it makes your muscles twitch so your body kind of jars, or just your arm. When it was on my arm, it was just my arm that twitched. It wasn't my whole body. Then I did the power plate, which actually I really like. That's one of my favorite therapies, and I only did it, I should have done it every day. I thought that I was gonna try to do fewer therapies and save some money, and I ended up only basically missing out on 3 power plates, which power plate I don't think is that expensive, and so I basically missed out on the therapy and didn't actually end up saving any money because of it, and that's a paperwork or a financial issue that doesn't matter, but ended up just missing the therapies with no financial benefit. So that's a bummer, but I did do the power plate today. I do have it's a vibration plate that it sends vibration through your body, which helps keep your muscles working. I think it helps bone density, helps circulation, just again helps everything heal and helps all the yucky stuff come out and boosts all the good stuff. And I do have a vibration plate at home, but it's a much cheaper version of a vibration plate. The one here is a power plate brand, which is, I think, the highest tech you can get and super expensive and really amazing. The difference just is the movement is much more refined and it goes further in your body, and man, it just feels so good. You just stand on this vibrating plate and it feels really good, and you get off and you feel like you had been exercising, which is what it's doing. It's exercising your body without you having to do the exercise, which is good for a population that, like, if you have health issues or elderly, things like that, where you're not actually able to exercise. And if you are able to exercise, you can use it to enhance what you do, so that's cool. Yeah, I think then I couldn't do a second Beamer because I had done a Beamer right after my massage and right before lunch. That was right around noon, and you have to wait 4 hours, and it was only like 2:45 when I was done with everything else. So they said I could either wait around or I could leave and come back. And truthfully, I just knew that once I didn't want to sit there for all that time because I had stuff I wanted to get done, got to pack and stuff. And I knew that once I got back to the house, I wasn't going to want to go back just for, it's like an 8-minute therapy. So I said I would just skip that second one. And so I said my goodbyes to everybody. I rang the well bell just because in general, I feel better. I feel like I bounced back really well this time. Also, there's things like I don't need a CRT next time I come back. I don't have an outline time frame when the doctor recommends I come back. It's just whenever, it's an as needed recommendation. So it's whenever I might feel that I need to come back, I can come back. But there was no recommended, like, come back. I think the last one I had was 6 to 8 months from my last trip to now. So that's pretty exciting to be doing that well. And I definitely can tell that I'm doing much better. There's still a lot, of course, and I really, really need to see more improvement in pain issues, or decrease in pain, and an improvement in energy, because fatigue and pain are really still problematic. But there's a lot that I know to do that I can manage from home, and just try to keep working at things to detox, kill all the bugs that are in there, get extra super nutrients in there, and get all the bad stuff out, get some good stuff in, and just continue with the process. But I definitely am making good progress, and that's something to celebrate, so I rang the well bell. And then some of the front desk ladies and I sat and chatted for a little bit, and we laughed a lot, which is always fun. I really like the environment here. I like the people. It always feels good to be here. The week is over, and it's always nice to go home, but it's also sad to leave here. It's like a second home to me in a lot of ways. And also just to be somewhere where a bunch of people take care of you. Pretty amazing. So, okay, I'll go back and talk about my doctor's appointment. First thing I told him was something we worked on this week had to do with it. We found out that the right side of my body is having trouble because whatever part of my brain is controlling the right side of my body is having some struggles. So, like, I have a right head tilt. When I would just stand, my head tilts like this. My shoulder tilts down. My right leg kind of turns out. So he gave me some therapies to work, or some what did he call it? Maybe just neural rehab, to help retrain my brain, to retrain how my body is functioning, the right side of my body, and my posture in general. But I was taking a walk last night, and all of a sudden I realized, so I've had lots of lower back pain and pain in my right leg, especially my right knee. And I'm walking, And I actually was about 2/3 of the way through the walk, and I realized, hey, my back is actually, I could tell that it was moving the way it's supposed to move. And I looked down, and my right foot was pointed straight, the way it's supposed to be, instead of being pointed out. And I was super excited. It was this moment of like, hey, my leg is working! Woohoo! So that's another reason to ring the well bell, because that's a pretty big deal. And that's actually the first problem I ever had, was that my right knee started hurting when I was 14 or 15 years old. So it's exciting to be peeling the layers back far enough to be seeing improvement in the first layers. Because typically you go backwards in your healing. The first symptoms you developed will be the last symptoms to go. And so we're getting down there, which is exciting. And again, there's a long way to go, but there's also a lot to celebrate. So I told him about that. He was pretty excited. But I did, again, wake up in the middle of the night. This happened to me a night or two before. I'll go to sleep on my stomach, but then I wake up on my side in pain. And I think that's why I wake up, is because I'm in pain from being on my side. And then when I was walking this morning and I was looking, or just, I wasn't taking a walk, but just in walking in general, my foot was pointed out, my right foot was pointed out a little bit. And I was having pain in my back. So, but it's good to know it can be fixed, it can be adjusted. I see a chiropractor regularly, and hopefully I can just keep working at different things, different rehabilitative type therapies to help keep the muscles moving. I think is a big deal, because I asked my doctor if there's anything I can do to get my bones to stop coming out of joint and out of alignment, and he said it has to do with mobility. Actually, if they don't move enough, then when they come out, they don't go back in, and they need to be, there just needs to be more fluid movement going on. So I think a key issue for me will be get the muscles loosened up. And that, I mean, I've kind of figured that, but it was just a confirmation to get the muscles loosened up and working the way they're supposed to be, because muscle tension is such a big problem in my body so often. Get the muscles working, and then the bones will be more mobile and should be able to hold their structure better. So let's work at that. But he did readjust my back. Actually, it's the last thing he did. Readjusted my back using some hand manipulations, and also the jackhammer, which is a chiropractic tool that goes up and down the back. Alright, the other things he did today was he used a percussor on my legs. The percussor is a thing that feels like a vibration, but a percussive wave is different than a vibration wave. But essentially, it's a tool that he put on different muscles on. I think he did it on just my right leg. I'm not sure. It's hard to remember every detail, and plus we're talking as we're doing all this stuff, and so I'm paying attention as much as I can, but I'm not always attending to it enough to remember later. Then we had worked on my eyes yesterday. He was checking out my brain, but using the color glasses on my eyes. And red colors had kind of flipped my eyes out and given me eye pain. And I even still had eye pain later in the day, like even when I was going to bed. Now by this morning, it was fine. I wasn't having any problems. But when I got to the clinic, I was sitting in the waiting room waiting for my doctor to be ready, and there's a Himalayan salt lamp on the side table in the waiting room, and another patient came in and sat next to it and turned it on, and I looked at it, and the Himalayan salt lamp is reddish in hue, at least that one was, and right away it flipped my eye, mostly my right eye. And I was like, oh my goodness. And it's not because it's so bright, Himalayan salt lamps. It's like going through salt. It's not really bright, but just the color. So I told him that my eye was hurting. And so he checked it out to see what was wrong. And I don't understand the word that he said of what he put in my eye, but he made a remedy and put it in my right eye. And then shortly after that, it was fine. So that was interesting. let's see, then he answered some questions, just loose end questions. I don't even remember what they all were. Just things I wanted to know. And I had a list of things to check that had come up earlier in the week that we maybe hadn't dealt with, or I didn't know if we dealt with it. Like ammonia, we talked about ammonia earlier in the week, and I wasn't sure if we had done anything about getting the ammonia off my legs and off my heart. And he said that a combination of things that we're doing will take care of that, so we didn't do something with that specifically. Then talked about some of the things, like, okay, when we left off yesterday, we were in my doctor's appointment, we were just about to talk about iron, because my labs showed that I'm iron deficient, but wanted to find out if it's a problem with iron or a problem with absorbing iron from my food. So we ended up determining, or he ended up determining, that it's likely not an issue with iron intake, it's an issue with iron absorption, and I definitely need an increase in hydrochloric acid in my stomach. So he kind of was teaching me stuff about that for quite a while. Just basically, your stomach is acidic and the environment around it is supposed to be basic. Your stomach is actually, it's not always acidic. It releases acid when you put food in your mouth. So like when you drink water, if you haven't eaten anything, you drink water, it goes straight through your stomach. If you actually eat something, the muscles squeezing in your esophagus triggers the bottom of your stomach to close and acid to release into your stomach so that you can digest that food. So you don't want to drink water when you're eating or close to when you're eating, because then the water dilutes the stomach acid. You want to drink water when it's going to be able to just go straight through your stomach and get into your system, but not mess with the acidity of your stomach when you're going to be digesting food. So when your stomach releases the acid, and it's supposed to be acidic in your stomach to properly digest your food and begin the process of absorbing all the nutrients you need. And so then the environment around your stomach is supposed to be basic. And if you don't have enough stomach acid, then your stomach is more basic, and then the environment around you gets acidic. Or for other reasons, the environment around your stomach is acidic. It just throws off all the balance, and you have problems. So, and that we got talking about too in relation to calcium, because my calcium is low, and I asked if that would maybe be an absorption problem. So then that's how he launched into the basic versus acidic thing, because with the acidic environment that my body seems to have because of all the parasites that are in there and the toxins that are in there and the deficiency of stomach acid and whatever else is all contributing to that uses up so much of the calcium. So it's probably more of a and maybe I'm not absorbing it as much as I could either, but also it's being overused and depleted. So we're going to work with the hydrochloric acid, increasing that in my stomach. I've got a decent number of pills I may need to take for a while. I have to experiment with that a little bit, because he said start with 2. It's at 1 supplement, but start with 2 pills, and then explain to me how to exactly determine if I'm taking the right dose. And maybe take up to 5. He said don't take any more than 5 at every meal, though. Okay, so we worked on that. And then hormones he worked on for a while. He said my hormones are extremely messed up still, which is unfortunate, but I'm hoping, again, that's something that has been one of the beginning symptoms or problems, was the hormone imbalances, and I'm hoping that we're getting closer to getting that stuff taken care of. Then he gave me a glutathione supplement. That's an antioxidant, and my labs showed that I'm low in antioxidants. Okay, then he checked out my thyroid, and my thyroid is interesting in terms of the fact that my blood labs showed that my thyroid is functioning perfectly well. There's nothing wrong with it. So from a physical glandular perspective, he said, my thyroid is perfectly healthy. But the other tests we did, the CRT and the bioresonance scanning, I think the CRT showed that it's not working well. Anyway, both of those are showing extreme problems in my thyroid. And so he just was like, "What is going on with your thyroid? It's glandular speaking, it's functioning, glandularly speaking, it's functioning, but it's energetically it's messed up." So he was checking it out for a long time, and I don't know everything that he did, but basically because basically what he said was it had energetic blocks that needed to be cleared out. So he gave me, and blue light has a lot to do with the neck, the thyroid, and all of that, like how you absorb blue light and how your brain processes the blues in the light. And yesterday when he worked with all the colors, he had cleared out all the energetic blockages to my integration of every color, including blue, but there still was problems with the thyroid. So he actually took the blue glasses. He's got different color therapy glasses. He took the blue glasses and I was laying on the chiropractic table. He put them across my neck, did some testing, and then he made up the remedy that I needed to clear out all of the blockages, and there was a whole bunch of them. And then he made up the remedy and put it in water in a clear cup. And then he took a flashlight and he held, so I was laying down, glasses are here, and he held the cup over my neck and the light over the cup so that the light shone through the cup with the remedy, through the blue glasses, and onto my thyroid area. And what that does then is helps clear out the energetic blocks and just, I guess tune the thyroid energy into what it's supposed to be doing. And then he had me drink the remedy, and then he checked it out, and it was okay. And then my thyroid, according to the bioresonance scanning, was okay. And he said that that's the kind of thing that we were looking at has to do with being unable to speak your mind. And so he told me if there's anybody in your life that you're not able to speak your mind to, that I should practice it. And so then there's certainly some areas where I know that I can work on that. So just have to keep at it. The last thing that we did then was he checked over my brain or my whole system for traces of what's called a hummering. I'm not exactly sure how to say it. It's something he explained to me Monday right away. And so I've been waiting all week for this, and then actually we got done and hadn't done it, and so I asked if we were all done and we hadn't done that, and maybe next time we could do it or something. And then he's like, "Oh, I'll just do it real quick." So it didn't take very long. But essentially, he was able to detect that. Well, okay, wait. A hummering is, you can look it up. It's HUMARING. It's a ring that appears on the brain of a person who has had a trauma, like an emotional trauma. If the body processes that hummering too quickly, the person dies of a heart attack or a stroke, usually. And so there's like a appropriate length process for actually processing trauma. And if the physical body processes it too quickly, it kills you. Or tries to process out the hummering, the actual physical effect of the trauma, then it kills you. So like when people get fired and then have a heart attack and die, or a stroke, it has to do with this hummering. So we talked about it a long time on Monday, and then today And you can have a Hummer ring. I don't know if you actually would have the ring on your brain. You actually can see pictures of it if you Google it, I think. I don't know if you would actually have that ring from generational stuff, but you can have the energetic consequences of Hummer rings that your ancestors had. So I was super psyched about this because this relates to something, when I worked in ministry, we talked about generational curses being passed down through the lineage. And so basically what we're talking about is the physical manifestation of generational curses and the fact that you can physically fix them. You can, design a remedy to help your body process out traumas that have like the energy of trauma that is passed to you from your family lines. So I was super psyched about this. I thought it was super cool. And he said, indeed, I had that going on. I had past trauma from the lineage that was affecting me. And I don't know if he can actually detect if it's yours or someone else's, but because now we didn't get to talk about it today. He quick did it and gave me a remedy for it. But I'm pretty psyched to see what happens when my body takes the remedy to process out the hammering trauma, whether it's mine or somebody else's. Certainly, I'm sure it's both. But yeah, it's just super fascinating that they can detect the physical things. And this isn't the first thing like this that I've encountered, but there's a lot of stuff that I've encountered here at Hansa where they're basically talking about the physical aspects of the things that I used to do when I worked in healing ministry and prayer ministry. So I was pretty psyched about that. And that was the last thing we did. And then it was over. So hope you've enjoyed this journey with me. Stay tuned as the healing continues.